I actually hit that button prematurely, but hey, we're live. I'm sitting here thinking, it's Friday, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, sorry. No, I'm not. This is the wild man look. Look at, I'm sitting here, it's maybe a little too wild, right? Calm it down a little bit. I've been sitting here thinking for the last hour, I don't know what to do. I've been sitting here thinking for like the last hour of how to go about starting today. And I have a couple ideas. Let's look at things contextually. This is called Incorruptible 2-minute warning. And on this show, I guess, call it a show, whatever you want to call it. On this live stream, we talk about some hard issues, things that have an urgency to them, things that have a threatening aspect to them, right? To give us that whole right? To give us that idea, right? So there's something going on. There's something going on, and it's important. And then all of a sudden, right? You've got a buzzer. There's a 2-minute. There's a clock. There's an urgency. That's what this show's about. That's what this live stream is about. 2-minute warning. We give ourselves 2 minutes to warn you about something, to warn you about things. And so we create themes. We come up with ideas, thoughts, things that are happening not only out there in the physical realm, but also in the spiritual realm, things that we find in the Bible, things that themes or truths, absolutes that we find in the Word of God that we might be missing, we might not understand, they might be warning us, they might be doing whatever, right? And we talk about them. How do these things apply? Do they apply? Of course they apply. How do they apply to our lives? How can you apply these things that we're talking about to your everyday life? Your faith walk, your marriage, your family, your children, your business, your job, your vocation, your ministry, whatever, right? We do a thing called Exodus to Ingathering, the field manual. This talks about we take the examples of what happened to Israel in the desert. I don't know what happened here. What happened to Israel in the desert? What's the conflict with Israel in the desert that Paul talks about in Corinthians that caused them, I'm sorry if I'm bothering you, that caused them to, essentially die in the desert. What happened to Israel in the desert that caused them to die in the desert and not enter into their prophetic inheritance? Right? Incorruptible, the inheritance of sonship. That's what that was the subtitle to Incorruptible, the inheritance of sonship. Why? So in the field manual, we talk about in the book in a devotional type of approach, and then we meet on Monday nights and we talk about each chapter, each devotional. And the premise is what happened to Israel in the desert that caused them to die in the desert, that caused them to be separated from God and not enter into their prophetic inheritance, their sonship, the promised land. The various things that Israel got, fear, doubt, unbelief. We don't have water. We don't have food. Oh my God, there's Nephilim. We're going to follow Korah instead of Moses. People die, plague. It's horrible, right? And we talk about the various things. There's a lot that we talk about when it comes to the Monday night Exodus to Ingathering devotional. It could be that we talk about the things that happened directly to Israel in the desert and how they apply to us today. Things that Jesus said, New Testament things. I mean, if you don't have that book, I'm not trying to sell you a book. I'm trying to equip you. Okay, I'm trying to equip you. I'm trying to open up your understanding to some things that Christianity failed to do, or has failed to do, that continues to fail to do. Jesus said that God was a spirit and that we must worship him in spirit and in truth. Christianity can't explain that very well. See, I believe what Jesus said. I believe Jesus when he says that God is a spirit and you must, right? If you don't worship God in spirit and in truth, you're not actually worshiping God. You are deceived and you're not actually worshiping God. How do you worship God in the spirit? How do you worship God in truth? Well, I'm sorry. I actually talk about this in my other book, This Thing is Spiritual, and I break it down. What is Jesus referring to? What is his proof? Because Jesus says that I don't say anything I haven't heard the Father say, and I don't do anything I haven't seen the Father do. Jesus' source material is the Old Testament, the Tanakh, the Torah, the Law of Moses. And so unless we go back there, right, because he's quoting things you don't necessarily know were already written and established by his Father through like Moses or some other prophet or whatever. And Jesus is just relating to that. He didn't come to do anything. He goes, my message is not my own. He said that. And so where do we find out how do you worship God in spirit? Well, he tells us. The Bible tells us. And I break it down in that book. How do we worship God in truth? Well, the Bible tells us. And I break it down in that book. I believe that. And I've been teaching you guys, or I've been trying to explain to you guys the word teaching. That's weird. I know that I'm a teacher, but I didn't, unlike a lot of other people that do this type of stuff, my goal in life wasn't to be a minister. My goal in life wasn't to be a teacher of the Word of God or an evangelist or none of that. That just wasn't my goal in life. I wanted to be a rock star. So here I am. So when I call myself a teacher, I'm a little hesitant because anyway. But I try to help you understand is that if God is spirit and we must worship him in spirit and truth, that means this entire thing called Christianity, this entire exercise is done successfully in the spirit realm, not the earth realm, the spirit realm. And it's very difficult for Christians to do this thing in the spirit realm because they don't necessarily believe in that realm in a actual, practical, real life, tangible way. It's more of it's an analogy. It's more of a philosophy. It's everything but a working component of their faith walk or faith life. Allan, how can you say that? That's a broad stroke. Yes, it is. And this is why I can say that. I can say that because the majority of Christianity does not believe the words of Jesus when he said, "This is the sign that will follow my disciples. This is how you will be able to tell that these are my disciples. They will speak in tongues. They will cast out demons. They will heal the sick. They will raise the dead. They will prophesy. They will interpret dreams. They will do supernatural exploits. They will do things in the spirit realm." And see, the majority of Christianity doesn't believe that. So if they're not believing what Jesus simply said about what we should be doing as proof that we're his, we're going to have a hard time believing or worshiping God in spirit and in truth. And we try to teach you that since everything, right, this thing is spiritual, this thing is done in the spiritual realm. If you want to do this successfully, you do it in the spiritual realm. But then we also try to explain and teach to you that what happens in the physical realm is manifested in what happens in the spiritual realm is manifested in the physical realm. Okay, right? So the physical realm manifests what is happening in the spiritual realm. And here's why we bring all this up. Because yesterday, this happened. Yeah, it looks like that. That's not a doctored photo. This is an actual still from what happened last night. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I should move it a little bit. Oops. This happened last night. Okay, right there. That's what happened last night. This is a physical manifestation of what is happening, what has happened, and what is happening in the physical realm. Here's why this is important. Again, this show is called 2 Minute Warning. Our Exodus Ingathering Field Manual instructs you on how to avoid the pitfalls of Israel in the desert. Israel was allowed fear, doubt, and unbelief. These are physical things that, right, regarding they were fearful and they doubted and they had unbelief regarding what God was telling them, plus what they were experiencing in the physical realm. They were like, oh, this can't be happening. I can't believe what's this spiritual truth or this spiritual thing because of what my circumstance is in the physical realm. Okay. And we teach at Chameleon Church, we're an equipping ministry, and we're trying to equip you to understand that what happens in the physical realm is a manifestation of the spiritual realm. What is actually going on in the spiritual realm, because that's where this is really played out, right? Lucifer, demons, angels, entities, principalities, right? Read Ephesians 6. If you don't understand Ephesians 6, if you don't believe that Ephesians 6 is actually a real thing, I can't help you. You need to find somewhere else to go that will actually pacify your craving for watered down milk. I can't help you with that. Ephesians 6 is freaking real, and this is proof of it. Okay? Last night we were told that if you don't believe like we believe, if you don't agree with the things that we agree with, if you don't vote like we do, if you don't believe in the America we're trying to build, where your body is your body, you have your own, you can do whatever you want with your own body, unless they tell you to do something other, like, something else, right? Because right? It's all a lie. It's convoluted lie. It doesn't make any sense. There's no, right? Your body is yours, right? When it comes to abortion, but we can force you to get a shot whether you want to or not, because that's when it's not your body. It's not your body when we want to do something with your body. But when you want to do something with your body, go for it, right? They literally said that I didn't see the whole speech. I couldn't. I had to stop. But the two things that I heard them say was, look, if you don't believe that your body is your body to do whatever you want to do with it, and if you don't believe that you can love and marry whoever or whatever you want, then you're an extremist, you're a conspiracy theorist, and you are a threat to the democracy of this republic, to this country. They didn't say republic. You're a threat to democracy. And that you're a fascist, even though that looks exactly like what it looks like. As a faith-based, that's weird. As a person of faith, I don't believe certain things that they believe are okay for us to do. I don't believe certain things that they believe we should be doing. I don't believe certain things that they want to enforce on us. That makes me. I know you don't know this because you weren't around because we didn't know each other in the 80s and 90s, but we have known this for a very long. Some of us have known about this stuff for a very long time. Christianity has to become the enemy of the state. That's part of where we're headed, right? Revelation 12, Revelation 14, Revelation 12 and 13. How does that happen in a country that is based on a Judeo-Christian ethic? Well, a couple, 2 or 3 presidents ago, we were told that we were no longer a Judeo-Christian nation. Right, Barry? Here's why I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this because it's happening right now, and we're trying to equip you. See, I told you a long time ago, the way we do things around here is like Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off. Right? You're painting the wall, wax on, wax off. You think we're teaching you how to paint. You think we're teaching you how to wax a car. But we're not. We're actually teaching you karate, right? Like the Karate Kid. In the same way, see, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to equip you through this, and how we're trying to equip you through the feast book, how we're trying to equip you with the This Thing is Spiritual book, how we're trying to equip you on Monday night devotional, how we're trying to equip you every Tuesday morning for 4+ years with the Chameleon Church, how we're trying to equip you with this 2-minute warning, is our showing you how to do this, right? See, here's what we're looking at. We're looking at this nonsense, and we're paying attention to this nonsense, and we're telling you this, right? Because you don't necessarily, right? Yes, you need to know about this. Yes, you need to worry about this. But there's things there's always things happening in the background that you don't know about, that you don't need to know about. But we're telling you about it. Right? And we're equipping you for it. So that when it literally surfaces and manifests, you're already prepared, right? Wax on. It's a natural muscle memory reaction. Which brings me to this new thing I want to do called Life Among the Terrans. A chronological go-through of the New Testament describing humans as the spiritual beings that they are. Spiritual beings having a physical experience. And the passages and lost truths of our being made a little lower than the angels. The spiritual war in our earth realm, our lost ability to live in that spiritual authority, our rightful place here on Terran, earth, and in the heavenly realms. Right? All creation is waiting for us to be revealed. I wrote this the other day on Facebook. Our children are being groomed and conditioned for a societal demise that will accept with open arms the beast system. We were just told yesterday that if you don't believe the way we do, if you don't agree with with the things we agree with, you're a threat. I'm pro-life. And I believe in the biblical definition of marriage between one man and one woman. That's a threat. I believe, you know what I believe.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.